Interview questions on BatchApex in Salesforce. 1. Why do we need batch class in Salesforce? Answer. A batch class allows you to define a single job that can be broken up into manageable chunks that will be processed separately. One example is if you need to make a field update to every account in your organization. 1. Start method is automatically called at the beginning of the Apex job. 2. What is batch class Salesforce? Answer. Batch class in Salesforce is used to run large jobs, think thousands or millions of records, that would exceed normal processing limits. Ellipsis. Each time you invoke a batch class, the job is placed on the Apex job queue and is executed as a discrete transaction. 3. What are the different methods of BatchApex class? Answer. The different method of BatchApex class are: Start method. It is used to collect the variables, records or objects to be passed to the method execute. Execute method. It performs the processing for each batch of data passed to the method. Finish method. It is used to execute post-processing operations. 4. How many batch classes we can run at the same time? Answer. BatchApex can have 5 concurrent, simultaneous, jobs running in parallel. 5. Can we call one batch class to another batch class? Answer. Yes, we can. We call batch class from another batch class in finish method. 6. Can we call a batch class from future method? Answer. A future method runs in the background, asynchronously. You can call a future method for executing long-running operations, such as callouts to external web services or any operation you'd like to run in its own thread, on its own time. Yes, we can't call future method from batch class. 7. How do you write a batch class? Answer. To an NBSP. Write a BatchApex class. You're an NBSP. Class and NBSP must implement the database batchable interface and include the following 3 1. An NBSP. Methods. Start, execute, finish. 2. If your code accesses external objects and is used in an NBSP, BatchApex, use iterable instead of database. Query locator. 3. An NBSP. An NBSP. The default and NBSP, batch and NBSP, size is 200 record. 8. How do you call a batch class? Answer. However, there are other ways to invoke a BatchApex class. 1. A BatchApex class can be invoked using the database execute batch method in the execute anonymous Apex window in the developer console. Invoke a BatchApex class. 1. A BatchApex class can be invoked using the database execute batch method in the execute anonymous Apex window in the developer console. 9. What is the maximum batch size in Salesforce 2000? Answer. The maximum size for BatchApex is 2000. The default is 200. 10. Where can I find batch jobs in Salesforce? Answer. You can monitor a bulk API batch in Salesforce. To track the status of bulk data load jobs and their associated batches, from setup, enter bulk data load jobs in the quick find box, then select bulk data load jobs. Click the job ID to view the job detail page. 11. Can you call batch from a trigger? Answer. There could maximum 10 batch jobs of 200 batch size, on trigger context. Can be scheduled, and since the schedule time is 10 minutes, we can expect that the flex queues are emptied by that time. So in the next iteration again records can be piled up into the flex queue. 12. How do you test a batch class? Answer. When testing your BatchApex, you can test only one execution of the execute method. You can use the scope parameter of the execute batch method to limit the number of records passed into the execute method to ensure that you aren't running into governor limits. The execute batch method starts an asynchronous process. 13. Can we call web service from batch class? Answer. While a future cannot be called from a batch class, a web service can. A web service can also call an @future method. So have your batch class call an Apex web service that in turn calls your @future method. 14. How do you run a batch job? Answer. Icon. Enter the name of the batch job, and then choose the related link. If there is an Options Fast tab for the batch job, fill in the fields to determine what the batch job will do. The page may contain one or more Fast tab with filters, which you can use to limit the data included in the batch job. 15. What is stateful in BatchApex? Answer. Stateful is when the execute method modifies a class variable in a way meant to be used across multiple execute methods or in the finish method. The majority of batches you will ever write will not need database. Stateful. It's important to know that using database. 16. What is iterable in BatchApex? Answer. If you use an NBSP, iterable and NBSP, the governor limit for the total number of records retrieved by SOQL queries is still enforced. 2. If your code accesses external objects and is used in an NBSP, BatchApex, use an NBSP, iterable instead of database. Thanks for watching Salesforcestart.